Welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to explore the journey of Venus as she sashays through the free-spirited sign of Sagittarius. It begins on the 17th of October and goes through to the of November. What can we learn from this particular transit? Venus is very much about how we relate, but also how we think about money, our self-worth and values. In the sign of Sagittarius, it can be about higher truths, but also about freedoms. I'm going to share with you the themes of Venus and through the sign of Sagittarius, also the upcoming transits, which are going to be powerful, but the event chart as this journey begins. I'll share that from a solar but also natal perspective. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel, please help it thrive and click that sub button and the bell notification symbol. If you're a returning visitor, I really appreciate all your support. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope forecast offer. If you share with me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place, or date and place, if you don't know your time, I'll produce for you your forecast but also your life roadmap report in my special package of 30% off. These will give you serene insights into the upcoming trends and influences that you can expect. Please see below for more. So Venus, when it moved into the sign of Scorpio on the 23rd of September, was squaring up to Pluto. Pluto is the higher octave ruler of the sign of Scorpio, and Pluto has, of course, been in a retrograde in the sign of Capricorn since the 2nd of September. So when that square occurred, you may have become much more conscious of some kind of pressure around the financial matter, shared resources and investment, or perhaps even a close romantic or sexual relationship. If you've been trying to work out what you need in that situation through to now, the ironic thing is, as Venus returns to Sagittarius after about an 11-month absence, Venus forges a brilliant link to Pluto, a sextile. But also Venus moving into Sagittarius suggests that if we do need to free ourselves from something that isn't working for us, this could be the critical moment. So if you've really been trying to decipher what exactly you need to do, because Venus in Scorpio is detrimented, it's not its best location, and maybe if there were some politics that needed to be resolved, particularly with Venus going into an exact opposition with Uranus at the heart of October, which may have given us an even greater awareness of what we needed to break free from, or perhaps ironically, what we felt drawn towards. So Venus moving into Sagittarius can provide the truth of that process. So that's the big picture, if you like. Venus rules 2 zodiac signs, Taurus, very much about the aforementioned money, self-worth, values, but also our appreciation of more sensual and sensuous pleasures, particularly good food, good wine, and so on. Venus's rulership of Libra is much more to do with relating, but it can be to do with presentation. It can be to do with the exterior. It can be a little bit superficial, to be honest, but it can also be very diplomatic and harmonizing. Now, Sagittarius is a place where Venus is looking for the truth of those connections, but also those financial decisions, and it can give us the need for independence. So if you have been going through a heavy situation, you may just want to break free, even if it's a temporary separation. But our appreciation of foreign cultures, travel, different art and historical situations can also be enhanced. If you're someone who is thinking of embracing some kind of new approach to history, learning, art, languages, music, this can be a great 26-day period. Now on the screen now, I'm showing the event chart from a solar perspective. Now because Pluto is so late in the sky in Capricorn, on that anaretic degree, it's essentially reflected in the solar chart as house 11, even though it's in 10. So Venus in house 9 linking with 11. So those friends and connections which are uplifting, where we have a connection based on shared philosophies, which Jupiter can be very much about, the ruler of Sagittarius, can be things that we're drawn towards, for sure. The event chart now on screen shows the ascendant at 22 degrees in Gemini, which is the opposite sign to Sagittarius, but Jupiter, the ruler of the sign, is very close to that ascendant, you can see, but just tucked up in house 12. But of course, Jupiter also rules the 12th zodiac sign of Pisces, so we do have a mutual receptivity there. But in this context, Venus goes into house 6 and Pluto into house 9. But again, if we think about Pluto, we could think about it being almost in house 10. So the 6th house is saying that even if Venus gives us that appetite for freedom, we also need to be mindful of our responsibilities and obligations around responsibilities. Now, what about the upcoming aspects? From October the 20th to the 25th, Venus forges a gorgeous trine with the point of destiny, the North Node. If you do feel that fiery connection, because the sign of Sagittarius is fire, of course, it's also mutable, so it needs to feel it can move around. If you do feel pulled towards something or someone, those are going to be significant days with the highlight of that energy on the 22nd. On the 28th, we have an exact square between Venus and Saturn. So the last week of October could be quite challenging if there is still a pull towards one particular person who's still trying to work it out. You're really going to find out whether it can make it or not by the end of this month, because that aspect can definitely kill off a relationship that's weak, that hasn't really got the attributes for the long term, because obviously the sign of Sagittarius doesn't want to be inhibited by the more emotional energy of Saturn in Pisces if it doesn't feel right. And even if you are a freedom lover, it doesn't mean to say you can't be in a constructive relationship, because with the right person, we don't tend to feel we're giving away our independence. So that is something we can all be mindful of in all sorts of connections in the last week of the month. So for example, if you work with someone and you don't really enjoy it, I would be looking to find another opportunity. But Venus is also in opposition with the planet of fortune, Jupiter, the greater benefit, Venus the lesser, through the first week of November. Now this is one of those aspects that, despite it being a so-called hard aspect, actually could have some benefits. But one of the things that we need to be mindful of is not promising something that we can't actually deliver on. So, for example, if we find ourselves really strongly attracted to someone, the electric chemistry makes us very upbeat and kind of gushy. That kind of energy is entirely possible, but before we know it, we could be making some kind of pledge for the long term, which actually compromises our values or our freedom. But do you know, Venus does forge a beautiful trine with Chiron on the 3rd of November. If there is some healing, some inner healing we need to do, we can do it, particularly in our attitude to relationships, through understanding how we think and our values. So I think that can be useful to us. But there is finally, from the 7th to the 11th of November, a square between Venus and Neptune. So the second square between Venus and Sagittarius, and Saturn first in Pisces, then Neptune. Now that one can see us be way too idealistic, put someone on a pedestal, perhaps have expectations around a relationship which can never ever be fulfilled. So it's one we do need to watch for. So if you meet someone for the first time, particularly as it's coming off the back of that opposition between Venus and Jupiter, try to get as grounded as possible to decipher what's really right for you. I'm now going to go through the zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect in terms of relationships, but also money, for the 26 days from the 17th of October through to the 2nd of November. Please stay with me for that. Please also check out your year 2025 zodiac forecast by clicking on the link beneath this video. I have published these a little while ago. They're very detailed and extensive. please take the chance to view yours now. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Aries, the great thing that you benefit from, of course, is the mutual element link to the sign of Sagittarius, which is fiery, like yours. And fieriness gives you a sense of excitement, a sense of possibility, but also an appetite to live your life. So if you have been experiencing some intense stuff, perhaps even dare to use the word heavy stuff, if there has been some intense revelations or clashes over the last few weeks, the move of Venus into your ninth house is giving you the desire to break out. And if you've got the opportunity to travel somewhere, the next 3 weeks is the perfect time to do so, particularly if it is somewhere that's very pleasing on the senses, that helps you to immerse yourself in the environment in a very enriching way. If you can't travel very far afield, go into museums and anything to do with heritage or history or cultural, such as art galleries, would certainly also be something that you can really enjoy. And linking up with people who are fresh, different, stimulating, perhaps from a completely different background to you. But if there has been those politics going on in a relationship, you're reaching a point where there may need to be a download of the truth of the situation, and the challenge that did come up towards the end of September, make sense of it. And if you do need to completely move on, you know, whether it is from an employer, whether it is from a friendship, whether it is from a relationship, not even a relationship you've been in recently, perhaps you're still processing the impact someone had on you many moons ago, this is a gorgeous opportunity to really work out, with that link to Pluto, who are the people with true value in your life and which are the situations which don't work for you. And that honesty, that self-honesty, can help you to then become freer within inside your own self. Also, if you are interested in investments, anything to do with publishing or overseas stuff could be of interest to you too over this next 26 days. Please check out your year 2025 deep dive forecast Aries by clicking on the link beneath this video. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Taurus, you're one of the people that's really gained from Venus making its way through Scorpio, because for you that's house 7, which Venus is very prominent in, because that's the descendant, that's where we relate. However, that doesn't change the fact that there could have been potential complications. At the start of the process, for example, Venus's square with Pluto may have been a professional relationship where you felt there's some kind of leverage, that however much you're trying to show goodwill, somebody still wants more from you, or perhaps they don't want to pay you what you're worth. Perhaps it's an employer. Now, as you come to the end of this process and Venus goes into your house 8, that in a way is very scorpionic. So if you have been connecting or trying to work out what a connection means for you over the last 3 weeks, as Venus moves, you get a big insight into just how deep this connection could become, because house 8 can be where we become absolutely devoted, and house 7 is where we're having the pleasant chats. It is a great opportunity to try to get a greater sense of equilibrium, but it's not quite so easy necessarily to get to that point of total commitment. So if there is someone you're really excited by, this change of Venus going into Sagittarius can give you the truth, the information of whether it can get closer. And if it does get closer, it could get even hotter when it comes to intimacy. But if relationships in a romantic dimension are not the centre of your personal universe, Venus moving into house 8 does ask you to think very much about your long-term financial planning. Now, Venus can be about charm. So if you encounter anyone who's trying to sell you a product, savings plan or a pension, you're negotiating with a financial advisor, make sure that what they're telling you really stacks up, because of course when Venus squares with Saturn and then with Neptune, they're in the part of your situation to do with your long-term future. Also, if you find yourself drawn towards somebody, perhaps from your friendship group, will that create complications that you don't really want with other players in that circle? So that's another question that could come up with Venus's square to those two planets. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Gemini, when Venus is in house 7, as it will be for you, that's a great opportunity to bring greater equilibrium, balance, harmony and diplomacy to all sorts of connections to others, particularly if things have felt a bit brittle recently with your ruler Mercury in the 6th house, where little niggles may have just got under your skin in a way which perhaps they wouldn't normally. But Venus moving into 7th does give us a great opportunity to meet and connect to somebody new. And I feel because of the angle to Pluto as this process begins, if it was through some kind of shared interest, philosophical interest, perhaps love of travel, perhaps a shared sporting interest, something like that, that could be where the connection is seeded. But what is great about Venus in 7th, it helps us to celebrate the things we have in common, not to focus on the things that are different. The one thing I would say is when Venus moved into Scorpio and squared with Pluto, you may have become much more conscious of where you tend to do the extra yards, or at least other people expect you to do the extra yards, but don't necessarily acknowledge what you do. And there can be some of that with Venus's transit through Sagittarius, but more to do with your work and professional situation rather than the home and domestic scene. And that's because of Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So they're connecting to your to the wider world. And with Venus in 7th, there can be a tendency to almost be too obliging, too pleasant, too considerate, and then other people take advantage of us. So when it comes to your work, make sure you keep your boundary firm. But at the same time, if you are looking to bring some kind of meaningful connection into your world, it's a great chance over the next 26 days. Gemini, please watch your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this video. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Cancer, Venus makes the transition from perhaps the most glamorous and romantic part of your situation into a much more practical area. If you have met someone recently, it's a chance to start working on that more mundane part of relating, which often is the root of most good relationships. It's those thoughtful gestures. It's providing support around the domestic sphere. If you are someone who's lucky enough to have a partner who tends to do the lion's share of that kind of stuff, even if you offer to do one or two extra things, it probably will warm the proverbial cockles of their heart. The 6th house can also be about work, and you may have a need to be more creative in your job. If you don't feel that that's easy to do in an existing role, that could see you looking round. The 6th house is also about fitness, potentially, certainly virtue, and Venus and virtue don't seem to go very well together. But if you did decide to join a fitness club or a swimming class, yoga, something like that, that's an opportunity to socialize with new people, make new contacts through some kind of practical benefit to you as well. Now, of course, Venus can be about money, and the 6th house is about those details. So are there ways in which you can use your imagination, Sagittarius, learn new pieces of information to guide the way that you budget? So that's another opportunity too. In a straightforward relationship dimension, if you're already in a tie, you will need to feel that there's a fair share of those chores. I think that is something that is really profoundly going to show itself, because once Venus goes into the square with Saturn at the end of October, if it does feel that too much falls to you, even if your thoughtfulness at work with colleagues seems to be taken for granted, that may be something that really starts to grind your celestial gears. If you've yet to watch your year 2025 Cancer horoscope forecast, please check out my deep dive by looking at the link beneath this video. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Leo, for you, Venus moves into your 5th house, which is about glamour. It's about a romance. It's certainly about sociability. Yet you do still have Mercury in the 4th house, which can be very thoughtful and perhaps even a little introspective. So the chances are, if you do go out and connect with people, it needs to be those meaningful relationships. Perhaps even go to places, ironically, with Venus in Sagittarius, very much to do with new experiences. If you are feeling a bit more homey at the moment, visiting places that have a ring of familiarity can actually call out to you. But if you are feeling much more outgoing and a little bit more daring, certainly the energy of Sagittarius linking back to your fire energy is terrific, especially if there is someone you're strongly attracted to and you're trying to work out what to do about this situation, or there isn't anyone on the horizon at the moment, but you're feeling a greater desire to have some kind of special connection. And that link between Venus and Pluto as this event begins is very, very important, because it really will help you to get in contact with the desire that works for you. The same with Venus's great link with the North Node as well, but it may push you in some ways to perhaps try some different approaches, be a little more daring. But if you are wanting to give your wardrobe or personal presentation a makeover, just being that much more confident about how you appear will increase your sense of desirability, and that in itself can be something that draws some special magic to you. Leo, if you've yet to watch your year 2025 deep dive video from me, please see the link beneath this video. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Virgo, for you, Venus moves into the 4th house. Venus can definitely be to do with more aesthetic things. So decoration, furnishings, colour schemes, perhaps even our connection to our family. If you've not recently had a meet-up with the people that are really important to you, with your ruler Mercury in house 3, which is very much about quick communications, but siblings, a great opportunity over the next 3 weeks to have that celebration. But if you are wanting to go into the winter months if you're in the north, or into the spring months if you're in the south, with a spruce up, Venus moving into this area is terrific for looking at those colour schemes and just getting a greater sense of comfortability in your immediate environments. When it comes to love, I feel that what you're searching for at this time is going to be that emotional component, often underestimated. We have an idea that romance has to in some ways be a dazzling connection, our heart races and so forth, but being with someone that we feel very comfortable with is a very important thing. So if you do have someone in your world that you have that level of ease, that relationship could become more important. What about the ongoing tie you're already in? If that's the case, just be aware that as Venus squares up with Saturn and Neptune, if you do want different things about where you live, that could create some tension over the next couple of weeks. Virgo, please check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. So Libra, Venus, your ruler, moving into your third house gives you an awesome opportunity to do what you do best, which is come across with a degree of style, sophistication, subtlety, and of course plenty of charm. But the third house is about ideas, so you could find yourself talking to someone just in a very casual way and realizing actually that this conversation is really flowing along quite beautifully. If you are wanting to meet someone, the third house also represents social media and new technology, and undoubtedly that is the way a lot of people do connect these days. But I feel that if you do find a deeper connection with someone, it will be because you have shared interests or beliefs that chime, and that's a really good thing. You also have Mercury in your second house, the planet of communication, so keep your values to the forefront of your mind, and because of the solar eclipse in your sign, it's still important that you don't give away your power over the next 6 months. So as much as you can chat along and get along with most people, and someone could be very receptive to you over the next 3 weeks, important to remember the lessons that Pluto's been giving you since 2008. Those 16 years have been hard earned lessons about making sure that your personal needs are met as well. So as much as you're very good at leaning into other people's situations, just check that the other person is as interested as you. Now, if you're in an ongoing relationship already and things have become a little bit mundane, as they can, try to change things up a little bit. Do things together that can stimulate both of you, and that will bring a little bit of the spark back into the alliance. Libra, please check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. Scorpio, Venus moving out of your sign and into the second house could bring almost immediately some kind of financial benefit. Venus rules money. It's not just relating, but when it comes to relationships, that natural part of you that appreciates that sultry sensuality is definitely amped up. But also because Venus links so well to your modern ruler Pluto, if you can link to someone, or you have a link to someone that's very meaningful, and you do feel there's a stability or security about it, it's very rooted, that type of relationship is really going to appeal to you. Now, it may be a little bit old-fashioned, but the second house can be about values. If you meet someone on a new date over the next 3 weeks, if you do have similar values, that can be very important. The only thing to watch out for is just equating someone's level of earnings or status as being more important than your ability to actually feel comfortable with them. And that could be something, because Venus can be a little bit superficial. You just need to be mindful of with it being in house 2. Scorpio, please check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. Sagittarius, Venus moving into your sign is lovely. It's a great chance to refresh your sense of self, to feel better about what you have to offer. With Mercury and Venus recently in your 12th house, and particularly when Venus went into that bruising right angle with Pluto on the 22nd of September, something may have come into the open which you found quite wounding. Perhaps someone revealed something that was sensitive. Perhaps you yourself have felt a little more vulnerable about relationships. Venus moving into your own sign helps you to draw a line in the sand. Even if you haven't recently broken up with someone, you may have found yourself very nostalgic, or at least working through the implications that that person had upon you. So if some old memories have been provocative recently, it wouldn't be a surprise. So Venus moving into your sign helps you to just come into the moment. And because of the solar eclipse in the 11th house, there's going to be a link. Your social situation can pick up over the next 6 months. It's just that with Saturn and Neptune still in your 4th house, the lessons Saturn's been teaching you over the last couple of years is that whoever you like, whoever you're drawn to, whether it's socially or in a more fancying or romantic way, they have to feel the type of person that you feel at ease with in a more emotional context. Sagittarius, please check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. Capricorn, Venus has arrived in the part of your chart to do with thinking very deeply about what you want from relationships. The 12th house can be about withdrawal, but it can be about reflection. But it can also be very evocative in terms of thinking about someone who used to be in your world, or if you're in a relationship which you don't feel is working very well, it could see you really seriously considering whether you want to be in this tie for the long term. And because your ruler Saturn is coming into that brutal right angle with Venus, you're going to get the answer to your question, I feel, by the end of the month, because it's possible that if you feel someone's not as loyal as you would like, perhaps not as faithful as you would like, or perhaps just not as invested in you as you would like, Saturn, your ruler, is going to scrutinize those vulnerabilities very strongly by the end of this month. But there are definitely opportunities to also feel better about a situation, but particularly when Venus arrives in your sign on the 2nd of November. So you're going to go through quite a deep phase of thinking and reflection about all sorts of connections over this next 26 days. Capricorn, if you've yet to do so, please check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. Aquarius, Venus moving into the sign of Sagittarius has a kind of echo of the energy of your sign. You're a freedom lover, and so is Sagittarius. Sagittarius for you is also your sector of friendship. If you do have Sagittarius planets in your natal chart, you're probably someone who's very invested in your connections and network. And it's your network that can come to life. And of course, the solar eclipse was saying, look, it's time to be a bit more on the front foot, a bit more adventurous and expansive in your approach. So it could be some fresh connections that you're about to make. But if you are drawn to someone in a romantic sense, who is in your circle, just be conscious of the financial side of it, because with your traditional ruler Saturn clashing with Venus in the latter part of October, if there are differences in that area, they could be revealed. But then that can be true about an existing relationship. One of the things I would say is, if you are in a tie, whether it's a friendship or romantically, do celebrate the things you have in common, because Venus is about harmony, and we don't always get all of our needs met all of the time, but we need to always stay mindful of what we do get. If you've yet to watch your year 2025 deep dive Aquarius forecast, please see the link beneath this video. Please take advantage of my year 2025 personal horoscope offer. You can click on the link beneath this video and order yours now and get the rest of year 24 free. Pisces, Venus moving into Sagittarius takes her right to the top of your chart. Charm will get you everywhere. So whether you're applying for a job, doing a presentation, you're trying to cultivate a better relationship with a business contact, or you know someone through your work that you're strongly attracted to, it is going to be important to showcase who you are in the best way possible. And a big part of the 10th house is about understanding that those old-fashioned sayings of first impressions count just hold as true today as they ever used to. but also in an existing relationship, if things are going well. I feel Venus moving into 10 can see you and your partner start to discuss your future in a more serious way if you're a relatively new relationship. So that could be moving in, it could be getting your first property or rental together. Then again, it could be adding to the family. And if you are thinking of property, the 10th house is very much to do with that, and Venus is to do with money. And your skill in terms of negotiating things is also going to be maximized. The only thing I would say is with Venus squaring with Saturn in your sign at the end of this month and Neptune earlier in November, it is really important that even if you want to make progress towards your goals and ambitions, and you're prepared to understand the office politics and the culture of the business you work within, I think Saturn and Neptune, particularly Saturn, are saying to you it's also really important to stay true to what works for you as an individual. And if something doesn't work despite good relationships, perhaps it's a time to look for other opportunities. But if you are looking to meet somebody new, don't be surprised. If you are single, if you find an attraction to someone from a different age group to you over this next 3 weeks. Pisces, please watch your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link beneath this one. Thank you so much for joining me for this Venus in Sagittarius presentation. Please check out that year 2025 deep dive overview and those individual forecasts, but also please take advantage of that very special offer where you can order your personal forecast for next year but get the rest of this year free. Please see the link below for more.